So my question to theorists, and I can now see a difference between realists and theorists. So I'm in the real camp. My model is real. So everything I've built is made from a real entity, water. Water has a negative Poisson's ratio, has an auxitic property. It means that when you stress it, its strain response is to increase in volume. And so take that idea to the nth degree, grab a membrane, the meniscus of water, see the surface of water, grab a particle and stretch it as fast as you possibly can, let's say the speed of light, variable. But you stretched it. At the point of stretching, it snaps, but it doesn't break, it increases in volume. Yeah? So you've taken that water, and in the duration of Planck's constant h, you've moved it a distance from its surface to its limit. As it reaches its limit, that's now the same volume of surface, just stretched from a disc to a straight line, a rod. That rod fractures and spirals, spider's webs. So spider silk is constructed from these light fibers. As it breaks into springs. Can you see it? It fractures into springs, bang, and then the pieces break, and those pieces are adrift in the elastic plenum in which we live. And spiders catch them, put a surfactant coating of mucus on them, and that's where the strength comes from. Yeah? Spider silk strength comes from light fibers. Now, take that idea of a single particle fracture into a spring, and do that from every single dot point on the surface of a dot point, where radius equals surface area r squared, bubble expansion. So every single point arrives at the surface, and so there has to be space on the surface for the rod, which is tapered. So to an extent, there'll be a tapering from the dot point to the surface. And so the actual theoretical dot point becomes real on the boundary. It's hexagonal surface. Hexagonal D6 surface, John Bloke's work. That RHFD work, John Bloke stuff. Right? This is the proof of this. The D6 surface is a bilaminar. It's laminar, but 2 layers. So that's where John takes us. So those 2 layers are that surface. So you can see, take the dot point from r squared, move it to the surface boundary, ice-18, a hexagonal molecular structure made from compression geometry, and glass glazing is created there. A temporary glazing is created there, which then immediately fractures into a pattern of D6 kites. So now you go to the Einstein hat surface, and let me show you how water is created. So at this surface, there is compression between each of the spaces. As those light fibers, each of them is stretching to the surface. They're compressing into each other. They're trying to find room. They're limited by the space around them. So they're moving out because they're limited by the space around them. There's nowhere else to move except away from the center. So when it gets to the surface, at the boundary where it's done a full transform. So at the limit of the beat of Planck's constant h, the breadth of the planet, there's a full transform 720 twist 369 strain progression, Victor Levy, ring tension judder at the surface, sets the limit. And there's a judder, boom, and the fractures. And so now the whole object that's created from this mechanism of stretching of water fractures into surfaces, Reynolds surfaces. Osborne Reynolds, 1903. So he describes them in the submechanics of the universe. So take that idea of a spring, stretch light, rod, fractures spring. An infinite number of them. Those springs are all line up with each other harmonically, but not, they're like a wave. Yeah, they won't line up exactly as a rigid body. They'll be elastic bodies. And so now you can see the gobstopper model was built. And that's a single surface, because the surface at the dot point r squared is the boundary. It's the same place in the beat of Planck's constant. So this is spooky action at a distance. But the cosmos, the universe that's built this way, is a single-sided Churley surface with a twist in it. Each layer of gobstopper has a twist point inverts so that inside outside is repeated all the way through, because the inside and the outside has different pi ratios. Inside is pi natural, outside is pi real. Pi natural is bigger, but it's bent the wrong way, so it's always trying to bend back. And so it's the bistability between the two pi's of pi real 22/7 and pi natural 4/√5 that creates pi elastic, the equatorial irrational transcendent pi Archimedean one that we currently use. So at the surface, the compression force is pure geometry hexagonal. That creates a glazing, an actual glazing. That pattern, the hexagon, creates a real entity, glass glazing, with the heat difference. You see, that glazing fractures into the D6 kites. Those D6 kites compress together. But there's different quality and properties. The way that they're compressing together, it's infinitely different snowflakes. The water is created at the boundary, at the compression point, and the water escapes from the compression point and runs exactly 90 degrees to it. Exactly 90. It's running away from the compression. The stretching, the shear thickening is running away from the at 90 degrees. And then it forms the Einstein tiles. Random patterns. Because where that water appears, it's different qualities and properties. And so now water, you've got glazing and water of two different frameworks. And this is the D6 bilaminar surface. The glazing, D6 kites ordered hexagonal. Compression forces, light, S2 squared, pi natural. Surface, Einstein tiling, random, patterned, ordered, following rules. Notice some are left-handed, some are right. There has to be a number of left-handed to balance the right, as we are right and left-handed. The same balance. We reflect that balance right there in the random pattern, ordered, of the Einstein tiling, of the water that's created each moment. And that's what a photon looks like. So a photon looks like that. Tiny particle. And it's the cosmos, when you look at the cosmos, when you stand outside from God's perspective. The surface, ice 18, windows opening and closing, billowing, following the breath of the planet, the water seed at the center. So that the center of the cosmos, not the solar system, of the cosmos, is the Earth, the pulsing water seed. And around that, those gobstopper layers, there are ring tension judder points, forming planets that we observe. But the planets we observe are just the ring tension dot points. The force is the sphere around us. So the force of the sun, the force of Mars, the force of Saturn are around us, pretending to be the center of the universe. But in fact, it's us. We, us, thought, human thought. Man is at the center. Man as God. Once you take the perspective from outside the cosmos, you see who you are and who we are. So well done, John. That's what you've proved. Remember this. Life's eternal. Secret of eternal life is that life is eternal. Memory is fragile because it's made from glass and water. You have to put the effort in to remember. Yeah. History. Start there. Welcome to the future. Follow the Rebel King.